Greetings, this is part 68. Moving on to the 31st chapter of 1 Samuel, starting at the first verse. This is 68 of God's chain of events. Now the Philistines fought against Israel, and the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines, and fell down slain in Mount Gilboa. And the Philistines followed hard upon Saul and upon his sons, and the Philistines slew Jonathan and Abinadab and Melchizedek, Saul's sons. And the battle went sore against Saul, and the archers hit him, and he was sore wounded of the archers. Then Saul said unto his arm bearer, Draw thy sword, and thrust me through therewith, lest these uncircumcised come and thrust me through, and abuse me. But his arm bearer would not, for he was sore afraid. Therefore David took a sword. Therefore Saul took a sword, and fell upon it. And when his arm bearer saw that Saul was dead, he fell likewise upon his sword, and died with him. So Saul died, and his 3 sons, and his arm bearer, and all his men that same day together. And when the men of Israel that were on the other side of the valley, and they that were on the other side of Jordan, saw that Saul and his sons were dead, they forsook their cities, and fled, and the Philistines came and dwelt therein. And it came to pass on the morrow, that when the Philistines came to strip the slain, that they found Saul and his 3 sons fallen in Mount Gilboa. And they cut off his head, and stripped off his armor, and sent into the land of the Philistines round about, to publish it in the house of their idols, and among the people. And they put his armor in the house of Ashtaroth, and fastened his body to the wall of Bethshan. And when the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead heard of that which the Philistines had done to Saul, all the valiant men arose, and went all night, and took the body of Saul and the body of his sons from the wall of Bethshan, and came to Jabesh, and burnt them there. And they took their bones, and buried them under the tree at Jabesh, and fasted 7 days. Moving on to the first chapter of 2 Samuel, starting at the first verse. Now it came to pass after the death of Saul, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites, and David had abode 2 days in Ziklag. It came even to pass on the 3rd day, that behold, a man came out of the camp from Saul, with his clothes rent, and earth upon his head. So it was, when he came to David, that he fell to the earth, and did obeisance. And David said unto him, From whence comest thou? And he said unto him, Out of the camp of Israel. I am escaped. And David said unto him, How went the matter? I pray thee, tell me. He answered, That the people are fled from the battle, and many of the people are also fallen and dead. And Saul and Jonathan his son are dead also. And David said unto the young man that told him, How knowest thou that Saul and Jonathan his son be dead? And the young man that told him said, As I happened by chance upon Mount Gilboa, behold, Saul leaned upon his spear, and lo, the chariots and horsemen followed hard after him. And when he looked behind, he saw me, and called unto me. And I answered him, Here am I. He said unto me, Who art thou? And I answered him, I am an Amalekite. He said unto me again, Stand, I pray thee, upon me, and slay me, for anguish is come upon me, because my life is yet whole in me. So I stood upon him, and slew him, because I was sure that he could not live. After that he was fallen, I took the crown that was upon his head, and the bracelet that was on his arm, and have brought them hither to my Lord. Then David took hold of his clothes, and rent them, and likewise all the men that were with them. And they wept and mourned, and wept and fasted until evening, for Jonathan his son, and for the people of the Lord, and for the house of Israel, because they were fallen by the sword. And David said unto the young man, Whence art thou? I am a son of a stranger, an Amalekite. And David said unto him, how wast thou not afraid to stretch forth thine hand to destroy the Lord's anointed? And David called one of the young men and said, Go near and fall upon him. And he smote him that he died. And David said unto him, Thy blood be upon thy head, for thy mouth had testified against thee, saying, I have slain the Lord's anointed. And David lamented with lamentation over Saul and over Jonathan his son. Also he bid them teach the children of Judah to use the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher, the beauty of Israel is slain upon the high places. How art the mighty fallen? Tell it not in Gad, publish it not in the streets of Ashkelon, lest the daughters of the Philistines rejoice. Lest the daughters of the uncircumcised triumph. Ye mountains of Gilboa, let there be no dew, neither let there be neither rain upon you, nor fields offering, nor their shield of the mighty is vilely cast away. The shield of Saul, as though he had not been anointed. From the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan turned not back, the sword of Saul returned not empty. Saul and Jonathan were lovely and pleasant in their lives, and in their death they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles, they were stronger than lions. Ye daughters of Israel, reap over Saul, who clothed you in scarlet with other delights, who put ornaments of gold upon your apparel. How art the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle? O Jonathan, thou wast slain in thy high places. I am distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan. Very pleasant hast thou been unto me. Thy love to me was wonderful, passing the love of women. How art the mighty fallen, and the weapons of war perished. Moving on to the second chapter of 2 Samuel, starting at the first verse. And it came to pass after this that David inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I go up into any of the cities of Judah? And the Lord said unto him, Go up. And David said, Whither shall I go up? And he said unto him, Unto Hebron. So David went up thither, and his two wives, also Ahinoam the Jezreelite, and Abigail, Nabal's wife, the Carmelite. And the men that were with him did David bring up, every man with his household, and they dwelt in the cities of Hebron. And the men of Judah came there. They anointed David king over the house of Judah. And they told David, saying that the men of Jabesh Gilead were they that buried Saul. And David sent messengers unto the men of Jabesh Gilead, and said unto them, Blessed be ye of the Lord, that thou hast showed this kindness unto your Lord, even unto Saul, and have buried him. And now the Lord show kindness and truth unto you, and also requite you this kindness, because ye have done this thing. Therefore now let your hands be strengthened, and be ye valiant, for your master Saul is dead. Also the house of Judah have anointed me king over them. But Abner, the son of Ner, captain of Saul's host, took Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and brought him to Mahanaim, and made him king over Gilead, and over Asherites, and over Jezreel, and over Ephraim, and over Benjamin, and over all Israel. And Ishbosheth, Saul's son, was 40 years old when he began to reign over Israel, and reigned 2 years. But the house of Judah followed David. And the time that David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah was seven years and 6 months. And Abner, the son of Ner, and the servant of Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, went out from Mahanaim to Gibeon. And Joab, the son of Zeruiah, the servant of David, went out and met together by the pool of Gideon. And they sat down on one side of the pool, and the other on the other side of the pool. And Abner said unto Joab, Let the young men now arise and play before us. And Joab said, Let them arise. Then they arose and went over by the number 12 of Benjamin, which was pertained to Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and 12 of the servants of David. And they caught every one by his fellow, and by his head, and thrust his sword in his fellow's side. So they fell down together, wherefore the place was called Helkathzera, which is in Gibeon. And there was a very sore battle that day. And Abner was beaten, and the men of Israel before the service of David. And there were three sons of Zeruiah. There, there, there were Joel, Abishai, and Asahel. Asahel was as light foot as a roe, meaning as a deer. And Asahel pursued after Abner. In going, he turned not to the right hand nor to the left from following Abner. Then Abner looked behind him and said, Art thou Asahel? He answered, I am. And Abner said to him, Turn thee aside to the right hand or to the left, and lay thee hold on one of the young men, and take thee his armor. But Asahel would not turn aside from following him. And Abner said again to Asahel, Turn thee aside from following me. Wherefore should I smite thee to the ground? How then should I hold up my face to Joab thy brother? Howbeit he refused to turn aside. Wherefore Abner with the hinder end of his spear smote him under the fifth rib, that the spear came out behind him, and he fell down there and died the same place. And it came to pass that as many as came to the place where Asahel fell down and died stood still. Then Abner called to Joab and said, Shall the sword devour forever? Knowest thou not that it will be bitterness in the latter end? How long shall it be then ere thou bid the people return from following their brethren? And Joab said, As God liveth, unless thou hadst spoken, surely then in the morning the people had gone up, every one from following his brother. So Joab blew the trumpet, and all the people stood still, and pursued not after Israel no more, neither fought there any more. And Abner and his men walked all that night through the plain, and passed over Jordan, and went through all Bithron, and they came to Mahanaim. And Joab returned from following Abner, and when he had gathered all the people together, there lacked of David's servants 19 men and Asahel. But the servants of David had smitten of Benjamin of Abner's men, so that there were 360 men died. And they took up Asahel and buried him in the sepulchre of his father, which was in Bethlehem. And Joab and his men went all night, and they came to Hebron at the break of day. I'm going to stop here and start part 69